Hey everybody, this is a different feeling of a show because this has been a different, to say the least, this has been a different week. And as I start this show, CNN is playing yet another episode of Anthony Bourdain's Parts Unknown. And Anthony Bourdain, if you didn't know, was a food media celebrity, right? I don't I don't like to call anybody a journalist because I'm not a journalist. I'm a blogger, and to me, people who blog and who are media personalities come with a pulse. They're not trying to be objective. You know that they have a slant. He killed himself. And then on the other hand, we have Paul Gunther and the Raiders. Gunther gave a press conference talking about the Raiders' defense, which I thought was interesting. And I went back and looked at Gunther's stats, and I was gonna go through some film about the Bengals' defense, um, and came away with this observation I want to share. And then, of course, there's the Tony Awards. And Robert De Niro got on the Tony Awards and did something I thought was wild before he introduced Bruce Springsteen. So there's all this stuff going on. I mean, and at the center of it is football, right? It's funny how that works, isn't it? I was watching the replay of the San Francisco, the Ravens 49ers Super Bowl. Remember that? The Harbaugh Brothers Bowl, right? Welcome to Zennie62, everybody. Oh, and then there's this blog post that I wrote over at Oakland News Now. Thank you, Barry Lee, for sending the tweet about a man who I would have to describe him as purely and simply troubled. And his name, I don't know him at this point, but I can tell you that his name is Henry Stinte, excuse me. And Henry Stinte is not a name I expect you to know, but he's a man who's in a lot of trouble because he, on Saturday, Lake Merritt in Oakland, decided he was going to take the belongings of an African-American homeless man and just chuck them into the lake. Some in the lake, some in the trash, because, as he put it, he was, quote, cleaning up the trash. And then an unfortunate man by the name of Matt Nelson, who's an Oaklander, lives around the lake, decided to put him on his Facebook live stream with some unfortunate consequences that add up to assault. Hey, the champ is here. How you doing, Mr. Coop? How you doing? The champ is here. So I wanted to talk about that because, to me, at first it seemed like it was going to be another Barbecue Becky incident, but given this guy's background, I think it's actually worse. I think this guy is someone who needs some help. He is troubled and could cause some harm to people. So I want to alert those who live in Oakland by the lake. Hey, watch out for this man because he has a tick that seems to point to the idea that he's got to be the janitor for the lake. The janitor you didn't hire, the city of Oakland certainly didn't hire, and he has to get what he's cleaning up are people or things rather that he thinks are people he thinks are undesirable. He made comments. Thanks, I got a tip from a viewer. Made comments about the Ghost Ship Fire people that were vile, not in the way you would think, but basically he said, well, those people should not get any money. They should be in jail because they lived in squalor. He had no sympathy for what they went through. However, I think this guy is homeless himself, and I happen to find what I believe is his background. And as Barry Lee just noted, I thought quite rightly so. He said, Barry Lee said something to the akin. I want to make sure I get this because it was very, very true. He said, he seems to be a ticking time bomb. Yeah, and the time bomb went off. And you don't want it, if you live at the bottom of the lake, you don't want the time bomb to go off on you next. You know, went off and started because he didn't like that Matt was filming him, which Matt has a legal right to do in a public place. All right. So anyway, there's a lot to talk about, but I want to refocus and talk about right now the Raiders because I feel good in talking about the Raiders. So, and I want Team Cooper says someone needs to open up a can of whoop ass and give them a can of act right. Yeah, I think the Oakland police should do that. That's the job for the police, okay? And someone should have called the police. If the guy were black, he'd have been in jail by now. You know that. Someone would have called the cops on the dude. I mean, that's what we would have heard about, right? But instead, he gets to roam free around the lake, and no one calls the police on the guy. And then there's me. I'm like, hey, and well, there's TJ Harris who put out the tweet and the video. All right, but as far as the Raiders are concerned, Paul Gunther. Hey, Malcontent, how you doing? Paul Gunther is the defensive coordinator for the Raiders, and I have to say that while I'm excited for the team, I'm not convinced that he is the right guy. Now, who would be the right guy? Maybe like Tavon Austin or something? No, I'm not even sure it's a guy, okay? It's not so much a guy as an approach. I like the fact that Coach Gruden wants a single gap offense, a single gap defense. But what bothers me is my feeling that Gunther is not the kind who will design a base defense that's specialized to achieve an objective that can be that's flexible enough, that's understandable. He strikes me as a person who is pointillist. And by that, I mean hey, greetings, Malcontent. He'll call a coverage or play for this situation or that one. And there may not be a rhyme or reason between one defense or the other. They're just like tools, okay? Now, someone might say, oh, gee, what's wrong with that? Well, my problem with that is the learning curve. If you have a base system that's simple to understand and yet is flexible enough to be molded in different ways, you can bring in a person like a Khalil Mack who may be holding out and teach him. In other words, very simple basics so he can come in and do his job, right? That's not Gunther's defense. And if it's not Gunther's defense, and that defense faces a no-huddle, fast-paced system, like a number of teams are working on installing this season, the Raiders are going to be in trouble defensively because when you have so many plays and so many assignments you have to remember, and you have that team that throws this formation that you didn't expect, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have a problem, all right? So I'm throwing out a concern that I have about what is being proposed. And by the way, can you all hear me? I'm just double checking. Can you all hear what I'm saying? You respond with a Y, because sometimes, hey, cowboy, how you doing? Sometimes this has a tendency to buffer, right? You can hear me, great, okay. Barry Lee can hear me, and who else? I guess I'm assuming Malcontent. Okay, I'm getting the Y's. The Y's means you can hear me. All right, awesome. But you know what I mean? I can't show the video from Gunther, but he did make some comments that I think I can play without getting in a copyright situation, just in terms of the sound, right? So that you understand what I'm getting at. And he I'm calling that up now. That's why I'm looking in this direction. Paul Gunther. Gunther. It's actually Gunther, you know, because he has an E in there. It's not Gunther. It's Gunther. It looks like it's German, you know. It looks like that kind of. It looks like you have to have a certain type of food, you know, maybe bratwurst. Gunther. He's 46 years old, out of Richboro, Pennsylvania. He coached Cincinnati Bengals defensive coordinator 2014, 2017. What it doesn't say here is that he was line coach before that. And then Silver and Price says Gunther's defensive scheme to free up Khalil Mack and help Raiders get sacks. Well, that's interesting because the last defensive scheme the Raiders had did that. In fact, you had Khalil Mack getting all these sacks and everybody else getting a little. That's not the problem. And when I read that, I'm thinking, okay, no change, right? And no change. But where is this thing? No change. The Raider, here we go. Quick hits from the Raiders. You know, I like how teams now have access to Google News. They can put out the news without going through the middle person, right? Although I think there's some teams that need to sell what they write, but or sell themselves to you, right? Although I have to say this, having said that, Kiss, the Raiders PR guy, is top flight. He's a good guy, so I mean he does an excellent job at what he does, you know. Okay, so what I'm about to play for you, as loud as I can, is Paul Gunther's hold on a second here. I just gotta hear something real quick.
Anton, who comes from Southern California, has made Berlin his home, his refuge.
And never mind. Okay. I thought it was something about Kurt Cobain for a second, so I had to pause. And I thought it was, but it wasn't. So I'm not even going to bother going in that direction since it wasn't that. All right. Raiders says he's impressed. Gunther says he's impressed with the difference of progress. So hopefully you can hear this. Hey, welcome to Zennie62.
Versatility is clear, has been throughout his career. What does he provide as a nickel corner?
You know, he's really playing safety and nickel corner.
Yeah, it's buffering. I don't know. He says he's talking about Conley playing safety and nickel corner in this presentation that's buffering. But, and so I'm trying to, what I'm doing right now is I'm going to close some pages here so that I can assist him.
Veteran guy, seen a lot of football. Smart guy, picked up the playbook in no time. So he gives us a piece so we can move around some. So he was a good pickup.
He says he's a smart guy, talking about Kalen Conley, who can pick up the scheme in no time, you know.
For sure. What's that with Derek Johnson in the middle? What does this defense do for you guys in terms of having a guy who's done it as long as he has and in terms of leadership?
You know, he's just a guy that's played a lot. Again, played a lot of football, seen just about everything there is to see in this league. And he's just coming in here and learning our system. He's picked it up real quick.
Oh, he's talking about Derek Johnson. I'm sorry.
Defenses. So when you're at that point, the guy's been here for what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks now.
He says he's been there 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks.
So to have a veteran piece that can kind of control the show out there is a big important part for me.
He says that what's important for him is to have a veteran piece that can go out there and control the show. I object to using the term piece to describe a player, but, you know, I really have concerns with this defensive system. I got what I want, single gap, okay? But other than that, we'll see what he brings. The reason why I say I have concerns is because last year the Raiders tried this really hybrid defense that, let's say this is the field, okay? All right. This is the line of scrimmage. This is the center. All right. This is the tight end. Let's say this is a split formation, fullback here, halfback here, quarterback in shotgun, 5 line, split in over here, flanker over here. I said the other tight end, right? Okay. So defensively over here you have, let's say a 3-4. 1, nose tackle, ends, inside linebackers, outside linebackers, right? Strong safety here, cornerback here next to the flanker, right? Okay. Cornerback over here next to the split end, free safety here, strong safety over here, as I said, okay? So there's the full picture, right? If you can imagine all that, okay? Now, the issue that I have with what the Raiders seem to want to do is that I like that they just want a single gap, like the nose tackles here, right? But what they did last year was this. They took, instead of having a nose tackle, they had the nose tackle split over to guard tackle, then guard tackle gap, sometimes over the guards, but always outside. And then the ends were actually linebackers. So what you had was a 2-down lineman, 4 linebacker, 5 defensive back scheme. That's what the Raiders played a lot of the time. And so the Raiders were asking defensive ends like Khalil Mack. They would ask Khalil Mack and Bruce Irvin their potential play defensive end and linebacker at the same time. And so the edge rush was hampered because you asked the guy on the edge to do 2 things: pass rush, but then also watch the outside for the outside contain on a run. In a traditional 4-3, we have 4 down linemen, tackles, ends, outside linebacker, middle linebacker. The outside linebacker had the responsibility of stopping the outside run. The ends were pass rushing and contain. So you have the outside contained, right? But the Raiders didn't have that. And then on top of that, in the secondary, they had a coverage where you would have, instead of it being post zone, corner zone, they would have 1 big zone here, 2 zones here, 1 big zone covered by 1 person, like that, right? If you don't get you need a pass rush. I mean, you have to guess right. If you have to make sure all your guys are overloaded here, we're in the right place, and in other words, you're the pass patterns to go in this direction. What if they didn't? What if they just ran a drive pattern across field, which was done to the Raiders a lot of the time? There's a reason for that, because over here in the empty part, person makes a catch on drive pattern 8 yards downfield. They have all this yards to run. Okay, so and the Raiders got themselves in trouble with those underneath passes, receptions a lot of the time. I'm gonna get your comments. Z says, Malcolm 10 says, Z, it seems like it will come down to scheme, training, and in-game communication. Talent also seems better and deeper. We'll see how dynamic it is against the quality defense. Cowboy Rush says, yeah, I saw the video, totally agree. Riley says, what defense is Gruden going with? He's going with a 4-3. T. Cooper said, Gruden is thinking about going 4-3. Hey, everybody, go to Zennie62 on YouTube. Just open up another page. Type John Gruden, Zennie62 defense, okay? And you'll see what he told me. He said that I'm going with a single gap 4-3. That's what he said, okay? 4 down linemen. Single gap 4 down linemen is what he said. He didn't say 4-3, all right? Cowboy Wrestling says, as a Raider fan, I don't expect them to do anything much this year. The Chargers are my odds-on favorite to win the division, unfortunately. Cowboy Wrestler, that's what he says. T. Cooper says, I doubt that is true, Cowboy. I think the Raiders have a better chance of getting the playoffs this year than the the Chargers. I have to agree. Every time I turn around, someone's picking the Chargers to be the darlings of the AFC. You know, how many times have we heard it? Chargers, Chargers, Chargers. But having said that, you know what? I gotta admit, I can see why that'd be a sexy pick. You've got a guy, their coach, who really he coached his butt off toward the tail end of the season. He really did. He got them out of a hole that they really dug themselves early on, okay? And they look like world beaters. Now, is there any logical reason to believe they won't continue that play this year? I can't see one. Except that, well, the look of the AFC West around them has changed. I mean, you've got a new quarterback and a new approach with the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. You've got a new system, same quarterback with the Raiders, John Gruden, of course. You know, I just not see, I mean, when you start looking at the AFC West, it's anybody's contest, but having said that, there is something to prize with a scheme that, and a system and I mean, believe it or not, they're just what, a year old or so? Of people, 2 years, a year or two old, right? 2 years. This will be the third year for the Chargers. There's something to be said for a system that people are used to. It really is. Hey, I noticed that the numbers went down and up and down and up. Is this buffering properly for everybody? Or is this slowed down? I'm wondering, because the numbers are really high, and all of a sudden people drop. When it drops off like that, it's generally because it's buffering, and you know, people are like, I don't want to deal with this. I'll go. Right? Is this behaving properly? Stream's good. No buffering on your end. Okay, good. Okay, good. Okay, good. Yeah, it's really weird. It's like high, and then it's like, ugh. It's good? Cool. All right. So anyway, oh, it's good? Okay, cool. It's good. Cool. Yeah, it's really weird. I don't know, these numbers are unusual. They're kind of going up and down. They're kind of accordion, and maybe it's just something, whatever. I'm not convinced. I'm hesitant to say it because I don't know who's going to win the AFC West. I'm not sure about the Raiders yet. I'm hesitant to pick the Chargers because they always let me down. And I don't know. I'm just not with it. I'm not with the idea of picking the Raiders just yet. But I'm not with the idea of picking against the Raiders either. Who are you picking for the AFC West? I know it is way too early, but people like to have some conversations about this. What are you guys thinking? I feel like the Raiders will win, but Cooper, why? And Kyra says, no, I think the problem... Oh, it's a problem with your phone? Oh, there is a problem? Okay. I know there's a problem out there with something, but I don't know that... I don't know if it's what's going on. Raiders, for me, thanks to Gruden. Okay. Anybody else? Anyone else? He says, I have no guess, but I'm looking forward to preseason. I am too. I'm looking forward to preseason. Now I have to ask a question before I continue with this because it's something that is on my mind. I just can't escape it. Oh, wait a minute. Will Derek Carr finish the season? Just asking. Will Derek Carr finish the season? Will he? Is this the year that we get a complete season for him without injury? Is this the year that he turns the corner? What do you say? Yes, no, indifferent? Malcontent says everything seems to be different this year. It is. Most expensive kid toy ever made. Barry Lee says he thinks so because of Gruden's coaching ability. But Barry, John's been out of the league for how long? I mean, what is his coaching ability? I'm just asking. What's coaching ability? Oh, you're back. Is your phone working out? Did that work out for you phone-wise? Yeah, 15 years. Yeah, it says my stream status is good. Okay. Well, stream health is good. All right. Well, stream health is good. There's no buffering. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to, hold on a second. Stream status is good, but there's a buffering, folks. It's just spinning black for me, so I think there's a problem. And see, I'm just getting it's just spinning black. And if it's just spinning black for me, okay, then it comes up. And that, if it's taking that long for me, then I know it's the other people having a problem as well, okay? And I'm wondering if, you know what? I'm gonna switch, no buffering? Okay, I'm gonna switch from Firefox to Chrome. Malcontent. Always reminds me of that. And see if that's the difference, see if that makes a difference. And then what I'll do is, hold on a second. I'm going to get slow computer syndrome. It means I need to clean it out. Something. Get rid of that. Open, close that. There. But what I want to see defensively, what I haven't heard from Gunther, what I want to hear out of my DC is one word. You know what that word is? Speed. And I don't want to have to ask him if we're going to have a fast defense. I want his coaching ability and philosophy to reflect the desire to build a fast defense. Tony Dungy had that. They had ball chasing drills to build a fast defense, you know? Chase them, sick them, go get them. Monty Kiffin, no surprise, knows Tony Dungy, right? They preached building fast defenses. Hey, Joseph Bensman, how you doing? They preached, building fast defenses. I think it's worth playing what Gunther said. I'm going to go and get my speakers and hook them up real quick because I want to talk about this, you know? I want to talk about this tonight, about this issue of defense. I'll be right back. I'm going to get the speakers and hook them up because I think that there's some dissecting to do. I will be right back. Please stick around. Do not leave Zennie62. But while you're here, go and get the Gruden interview that I did at the NFL annual meeting where I asked him specifically about the defense. I'll be right back. Okay, back, folks. Now, let's just plug this in. That sounds good. And go to YouTube. Page is opening. Much faster. Much faster and much better in Chrome than than Firefox. Hey, welcome to Zennie62, by the way. And voila, there it is. When you say whoops, there it is, right? Whoops, there it is. All right, now I'll go back to the page real quick and to the live stream. Oops, geez Louise, hold on a second. Okay.
When the moon rises.
Hey, it works.
Secure your late night cravings with original.
Got it. All right. The elevator music has ended. Thank you, Barry Lee, for pointing that out. Now, we will shift the elevator music for... Hey, this is much better. Malcontent, if I ever use Firefox again, you ought to slap me. Like that. I mean, I like Firefox for my blogs, right? For WordPress, but I don't like it for live stream. And Joseph Binsman says he's feeling a little less sure about his Giants. Hey, your Giants are right where a lot of teams should be. Coming off a lousy year, new coach, different scheme, star running back. Why are you less sure about your Giants? I'm more sure about your Giants than I am about the Raiders. Okay? I think the Giants are going to do very, very well. I really do. Now, let me see here. Raiders, speaking of which, Paul Gunther, Raiders, and let's see here. News. Okay, quick hits, found it. All right, now let's see. Hold on a second. If this works out better with the speakers. I think it will. All right. Okay, folks. Here we go.
He's really playing safety and nickel corner for us. He's a veteran guy, seen a lot of football, smart guy, picked up the playbook in no time. So he gives us a piece so we can move around some. So he was a good pickup for us for sure.
Okay, that's Paul Gunther talking about. Now, I don't know who he's talking about. I thought it was Conley, but he says a good pickup for us for sure. So he has to be referring to a recent. He could be talking about Conley, but hold on a second.
Derek Johnson in the middle. What does this defense do for you guys?
This is Derek Johnson now. Okay.
He's done it as long as he has, and in terms of leadership.
He's just a guy that's played a lot. Again, played a lot of football, seen just about everything there is to see in this league, and he's just coming in here and learning our system. He's picked it up.
Hey, John
real quick.
Marks. How you doing?
He's able to get us in and out of defenses. So when you're at that point, the guy's been here for what, 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks now, and he's able to really understand what we're trying to get to. So to have a veteran piece that can kind of control the show out there is a big important part for me.
Well, the system you're installing is complicated, or one that's easier for the guys to pick up and go with?
I wouldn't say it's complicated. I think we teach concepts and techniques, and there's a lot of things that will mix up within those techniques and concepts. So if you understand this concept, it'll carry over to a different defense, whether it be a blitz or a coverage or a front, whatever it is. If they understand those concepts, it makes us a lot more multiple with everything we're doing.
Okay, that makes sense. Here, I want to stop.
How aggressive your front is schematically. What would you say?
Okay, I want to stop there. I would describe it differently. To me, you have a concept is an approach within a system, okay? Your overall system should be, let me give you an example, all right? Tom Landry had an overall system based around the flex defense, the idea of the philosophy of stopping the run first, forcing the pass. Okay, that's an overall philosophy that governs how your defense is designed. I don't know what the Raiders' overall philosophy is. I'm not saying they don't have one, but I'm saying that it should be something you can articulate very quickly, and you articulate that very quickly, and everything falls under that umbrella, right? And I'm not hearing that. Now, maybe it's just the way that he's explaining it. Maybe it just comes off a different way, okay? But to me, it should be like with the flex defense. The simple fact that I've remembered it for so many years is a testament to how basically simple it is. Yet the media at the time described it as complex. It's not. You had 3 approaches. Flex strong, which meant that the end was down on the line of scrimmage on the side of the strong side, which is generally the side of the tight end. Flex weak, where the end on the weak side was down on the line of scrimmage. Of course, the end on the opposite side was up. And then when the ball was snapped, everyone took their gaps on the side of the strong side if it was flex strong, or the side of the weak side if it's flex weak. Easy, okay? Tackle flex, you had the right side taking the right gaps, the left side taking left gaps. The middle linebacker, Bob Brudick, had either gap. That was it. Now, if you know where you're supposed to be in terms of your base assignments, when I call flex strong and I call flex strong 4 short 3 deep zone, then the strong side linebacker knows that if there's a pass, he's going in the hook zone. The cornerback on the strong side is coming down to cover the flat zone over here. The strong safety over here, okay, is going to that post zone over there, right? And then, of course, the free safety goes here, and the cornerback on the weak side, goes up that way. That's that zone rotation to the strong side. That's what they call a rotation, all right? They know that. I have just described to you folks a base defense. That's it, all right? That's it, okay? That's it. So I shouldn't have to. So when he talks about a concept and transferring that concept to another defense, I think you mean like a stunt or a blitz. Okay. But if I'm transferring that to a different defense, that's what he said. Listen to this, okay? Listen to this.
Easier for the guys to pick up and go with.
I wouldn't say it's complicated. I think we teach concepts and techniques, and there's a lot of things that will mix up within those techniques and concepts. So it's if you understand this concept, it'll carry over to a different defense, whether it be a blitz or a coverage or a front, whatever it is.
That's what I'm talking about. It carries over to a different defense, but there's no overarching system. What's your base defense? Like, for example, Buddy Ryan, his base was the 46, right? And it was man for man. So what I hear from Mr. Gunther, from Coach Gunther, is we have these different defensive tools. But what are you building your defense to do? Are you building it to stop the run? Are you building it to stop the pass? Are you building it with the idea that they can do both based on a switch? You can't do everything well. Or do you have a particular system that is so malleable that it can do both well? What is it? If you have a base understanding of what you're trying to do, if you have a base understanding of what you're trying to do and can explain it, like I just explained to you the flex and 4 short 3 deep zone, right? Roll to the strong side, okay? And John Mark says Gunther has no clue. No, I think he has a clue. I just don't think He's not explaining the way that I want it explained. I'm not, in the next breath, about to question either his or Coach Gruden's football knowledge. Our philosophies are somewhat different, okay? They can question mine because I haven't been out there to have a player do X, Y, or Z. Well, on the other hand, John did take my play. So did Dave Shaw from Stanford. All right, so I've got, and that play worked. So I have some skins on the wall, little bitty ones, not like big ones, little bitty ones. Some might say even microscopically sized, but whatever. They're skins. I'll take them. But my point is, that's not what I'm trying to do. I am concerned. We are humans, and basic, there's a basic understanding, okay? And so I'm going back to your comments here now. And Barry Lee says, Google good, Firefox bad. Okay, Joseph Smith says, a female. I got you, Joseph. I'm just working backward here. Hey, Black Lion, how you doing? Pedro Gallardo says, I hope Maurice Hurts gets a starting role. I agree. And Malcontent says, the Raiders seem to have tried harder to shore up the defense in general than the O-line. We'll see. I would say they've done both myself. Black Lion says, concepts. You're talking about concepts? Yeah, we are. Black Lion says, you run the concept that best fits the talents of the players. Yeah, but here's the point, though. Remember, there's some loss of understanding what a concept is. A concept is an idea, a way of doing something. For example, if I'm calling a pass play, let's go back to our formation sets, all right? If I'm tight end here, running back here, fullback, halfback, quarterback, line, flanker, split in. If I call a pass where I've got tight end going crossing pattern, I've got the fullback running a flat because you don't want to protect against the blitz, right? And then I've got my flanker going up, running a deeper pattern. This is a concept. I've got a high-low situation here. I have now, let's say if I take my halfback and I have him going up, some would call that a triangle concept. What's my idea is that I'm giving the quarterback here 1, 2, 3. That's my concept, okay? That's something that, if memory serves, coaches like Lavelle Edwards at BYU and Doug Scoville preached in that kind of triangle form of passing, okay, and as well as others out of a 7-step drop, okay, that concept. And Bill Walsh is, but less so Bill Walsh. Bill Walsh was less concerned about the triangle and any particular concept than he was less concerned about pattern concepts than footwork and ball delivery. Footwork and ball delivery and the focus on that was hallmark. That was Coach Walsh's gift to football, beyond just in general, okay? That was his gift. Because to digress for a moment, Coach Walsh's assertion was that you had to be able, he wanted to drill his players, his quarterbacks and receivers, to the point where a ball could be completed in spite of close coverage. You want to see an example of the San Francisco 49ers not doing that in the modern era today? Just look at the replay of the 49ers-Ravens Super Bowl, where I believe it was Phil Simmons who said that in observing Colin Kaepernick, and not to knock Colin Kaepernick, I'm just pointing out a fact based on what I heard. He said Colin Kaepernick doesn't anticipate where a receiver goes. He likes to throw when he sees you open. Well, immediately, that's what Bill Walsh doesn't want. He wants you to throw on time. 1, 2, 3, throw. To throw on time means you're anticipating that the player is going to be at a spot. Again, to throw on time means you're anticipating the player is going to be at a spot, right? Okay. Think about how the Niners have gotten away from that. And I emphasize this. I haven't gotten away from what I'm trying to say. But to emphasize what Bill Walsh brought to the game and how much even the 49ers got away from it post-Coach Walsh, okay? And arguably has Kyle Shanahan brought that back? I have to observe their offense. It would seem that they have, but I'm not going to just rubber stamp and say, yeah, because they're doing well, he's with the 49ers, and that, that's it. No, I'm not sure yet. But my point is, that's Walsh's gift. That's different from a pass pattern concept that I laid out for you, like that one. That's a concept. If in a defensive parlance, a concept is, for example, having a linebacker stack and then scrape over a defensive lineman. So you have a defensive lineman using a particular technique and you scrape off that technique. That's a concept right there. I can take that and I can put it in any kind of defense. I can do that in a 4-3, a certain kind of alignment. I can do that with a 3-4, but it's a type of concept. You understand what I'm saying? That's what he's talking about. If you have all these different concepts, you're putting in these different defenses. The question is, how much are you giving your players? As opposed to a system, one system that's malleable. Like when I described the flex to you. It's malleable. It's changeable. You know what the base is? Well, we can add blitzes and stunts and everything within that, okay? We know the system. See, I'm talking outside in, he's talking inside out. That's the difference. I'm talking my overall, scheme, all right? So anyway, Pedro Aguilar says, I'm glad we used top picks to build the trenches. And John Mark says, Navy radios will never give a straight answer. No, look, English is English. I understood what I was heard. And so John Mark says, does anyone remember what type of defense the 3-time Super Bowl champion Raiders ran? I think it was a 3-4 defense of Charlie Sumner. Yeah, it was. But even then the Raiders adopted it. And I remember that year the Broncos were really pioneers. Everyone laughed at the Broncos using a 3-man front with Bernie Chavis as the nose tackle, and Randy Gradishar as the middle linebacker. But wow. I mean, Bernie Chavis was the center of the defense that they quite literally tied up as many as 3 guys at once to make Randy Gradishar one of the great linebackers of all time. Just straight out. And then Tom Jackson, one of the original blitzers, okay? The original blitzers. Barry Lee says, what's so complicated is a 3-second rule in the NBA, but this concept doesn't. And John Mark says, Coach Walsh is a total genius. Blackline says, okay, out of the 4-3, you stop the run and give time to the back and to make the plays on the ball. I didn't come out right, but whatever. Barry Lee says, okay, I got that one. And Malcontent says, Z, you're making a important distinction between strategy versus tactics. Yeah, I am. I'm talking, overall strategy. I'm talking about big picture. And the tactics are within that, right? And I'm glad you said that, Malcontent, because, what I'm doing is I'm taking what you said, I'm Googling it, and I'm wondering if anybody lays out the definition of strategy, okay? And here it is. The terms tactic and strategy are often confused. Tactics are the actual means to gain an objective, while strategy is the overall campaign plan. Whereas I'm giving you the overall campaign plan, all right? He says, which may involve complex operational patterns, activity, and decision-making that governs tactical execution. And that's all I'm saying. I'm giving you the strategy. I'm saying, here's our strategy, folks. And within that, these are our tactics. Gunther is only talking tactics. Yeah, strategy equals philosophy. Right. I'm not getting from the Raiders that. I'm not hearing what the strategy is. I'm just hearing tactics. All right? That bothers me. What is the strategy? Okay? What's the strategy? That's what I'm getting at. Thanks, Malcontent, for chiming in there. And what is it? John Mark says Raiders should have won the Super Bowl in 2002. Whatever. My point is, all right, what is it? Tom Kohler says, but wasn't that the problem last year that Carr was releasing the ball too soon? No. That was, Tom, that's not, I'm talking about defense, not offense. Pedro Gallardo says, didn't the Raiders use a 4-3 defense in 2002 Super Bowl? Yeah. All right. They used a 4-3, but again, it's one thing to use a 4-3, but what kind of 4-3? Here's my point. Did they use a 4-3 pinch? No. What's a 4-3 pinch? A 4-3 pinch was popularized by the Pittsburgh Steelers under Bud Carson. And let me see if I can find a photograph of the 4-3 pinch defense. The 4-3 pinch was one of my favorite defenses of all time. In fact, I always felt that the one defense never done I've seen is the 4-3 pinch out of 46 pinch, right? In other words, take Buddy Ryan's 46 concept, but instead of having 3 linemen over a guard in the center, you have 2 of the 3 pinch, right? And the third, either changeable. So like the third, maybe you have a pinch strong, where the third guy is on the strong side, and then you pinch weak, and the third guy is on the weak side, right? You got the middle pinch. I've never seen that, and I believe that would be devastating. Okay, I mean, I think it would be a devastating. I mean, just freaking mess you up defense, man. Oh, you know what I'm saying? And I just, golly. Steelers. 4-3 pinch Steelers. Trying to get the old, I'm talking about like the Steelers of the 70s. Pinch, okay? I'm talking the mess you up style of defense that, and not finding the right picture here. I'll type Bud Carson. Maybe I'm getting somewhere, maybe not. Hold on, nope, maybe no. I am getting somewhere. In fact, it's with the Raiders. The 4-3 tilted nose tackle, as they call it, all right? Here it is, folks. I'm going to bring you down. Have a look. Here it is. This is it. Recognize that? See that? That's one variation of the pinch, okay? Some call it the tilted nose tackle. But what happens is that the Steelers would, on occasion, this is Joe Green, all right? And that's Dwight White. They would, on occasion, bring in Dwight White over here to double team, okay? With the ends, the outside ends they were responsible for a gap and a half. The half gap inside and the whole gap outside, okay? And look at how close Jack Lambert's playing. You see, look at this defense, in fact. You've got strong side linebacker over the tight end. You don't see that anymore. You see the tight end out back into the passing lane. You see the tight end, you see the linebacker, and you see the linebackers on what they call the next level, which I think is a mistake because the guards will come off and they'll find that person and they'll block them, and they're 3 yards off the line of scrimmage, you're getting blocked. If you're on the line of scrimmage, you don't get blocked. You can make a play in the backfield easier. So I really object to the way defenses have, if you want to say evolved. Okay, I don't. I believe in pressure. I believe in constant, schematically imposed pressure. If you can't bring that in my defense, I don't want you coaching my team. Okay, that's what I want. I want to take advantage of that time study that says, I'm only going to give you a second to get rid of the ball and no more. If my defenders cannot get to you within a second, our job's not done. You hear what I'm saying? And I will use every trick in the book. I'll have one of my guys shoot the gap. I'll have a defense designed so that my safety shoots the gap just to get to your quarterback if you're stupid enough to put your quarterback under center against my defense. I want that little gap there, boom. We will drill to get your quarterback. You will have to have a tighter line split to stop it. What does that mean? It means that our defensive ends have a shorter route to go to get to the quarterback. What does that mean? It means that it's harder for you to run because, hey, we're causing you to close your own run gaps. Think about it. That wide line split you wanted to play, you can't play against us unless you know what to do. I happen to say it because I'm a big fan of wide line splits on the offensive line, on the offense, of course. All right. If you haven't told by now, I love this stuff. I just do. Trying to find some more examples of Steelers film room and what they did. They're incredible approaches. But let me get back to your comments before I get too far ahead here, all right? And Barry Lee says, I can't remember the Cowboys in the 90s used a four-man front. And Black Lion says, you only want a 4-3 when you have great covering DBs, and that's what I'm saying. Oh, okay. See, Black Lion, I look at it, that's interesting. I look at it in the reverse. You run a 4-3 when you have drafted for defensive linemen, or women if you're playing, that kind of football. And I'm not kidding. But because there are some great women football players out there, like coach I had on, Coach Jen Walter, who's a great linebacker in her day. But my point is, and a great coach, okay? My point is that, in fact, you know what? I don't know. Sorry to get off on a tangent. My point is that you coach those linemen. You give the linemen room to play. What do I mean? You don't ask them to two-gap like we did last year, the Raiders. You treat them as Floyd Peters treated his defenders. Sick them. Have them rush the passer when you work for Bud Brandt of the Vikings. Rush the passer and you pick up the run along the way. You let your scheme work for you. I really believe in that. And Malcolmton says, I like that deformation you showed from the Steelers. Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to find more examples of that one. Joseph says, yeah, I was thinking that too. My Giants in 07-11 ran a 4-3 defense and had plenty of pass rushers on the defensive line. JPP, to me, if you have great defensive linemen, you don't need great DBs. A great defensive line, a great front seven can make average DBs look like all pros. Let's take a look. I mean, again, I hate to point at the Steelers a lot, but I will. And I remember one of the first times I read Sports Illustrated, and I think it was by Paul Zimmerman. This is the 70s. And it was about how the monster, no, it was Frank DeFord. It was how the monster showed up to beat Cleveland. The monster was a Steeler defense, the front seven. It was so good that quite literally the DBs could take the day off because it was the Oilers. I'm sorry, because the Oilers, they couldn't move. They couldn't move. And that was the Oilers with Earl Campbell. Earl Campbell was a bruiser. If you look, everyone has their, if you haven't seen this person play, you haven't lived comment. I have that for Earl Campbell. If you haven't seen Earl Campbell play and you have the opportunity by YouTube, you haven't lived. You got to watch that guy just sell out his body to pick up chunks of yards. And it's like the Tyler Roll. It's like this bull. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. John Mark says, the Steelers got lucky in the 70s. The Raiders should have won 4 Super Bowl titles easily. I don't agree with that. The Steelers didn't get lucky. The Steelers were very good because of their defense. The Steelers had, and if you have an occasion, John Marks, watch the battle. I'm thinking of a game that they played regular season 79. The Steelers had a very bruising form of running based on trap blocks. And they would take your knees out. Okay, it was a very brutal form of blocking that isn't even illegal today. So when people ask, well, gee, could the 1994 Cowboys beat the 1978 Steelers, or could the New England Patriots of today, the world champions, excuse me, not the world champions, but the defending AFC champions, beat the Steelers of 78? I will tell you this, the Steelers of 1978 would make the Patriots of today cry. Assuming you could play rules of the 70s. And the reason why I say it is not a slam against the athletes of today. No, the athletes today are better. But they're not used to the techniques that were illegal then. They would have to get used to those techniques. Okay? Once they got used to the techniques, it would be different. But if you played a game from scratch, you brought those guys, everyone healthy at their prime, and you brought back Mike Webster and those guys, and said, okay, 70s rules, my money would go on the Steelers in their running game. Because you have to be coached to understand how to deal with cut blocking and the kind of trap blocking that they were doing in the day. I mean, they would just fire off the ball like boom, boom, boom. Hit you, boom, you were out, you were down, and Harris would hit the hole. You don't have that today. You don't have that crisp, off the snap, blocking in the NFL. You have it more in college football still, but not the NFL. Joe Ben says, I heard Too Tall Jones is not in the Hall of Fame the other day. That's crazy. Yeah, it is. And Alcatin says, Wikipedia identifies the Steelers' monster defense as a 5-3 formation. Interesting. 5, 6, 7, 8. Technically, that's true. Well, yeah, that's true. 8. Because there were times that they did line up that way. But not all the time. The front seven of the Steelers' heyday had Andy Russell at strong side linebacker. It had Jack Lambert at middle linebacker. It had Jack Ham at weak side linebacker, the famous Penn Stater. It had Mean Joe Green, Dwight White at end on that side. It had Ernie Holmes, L.C. Greenwood at the other. That was the front seven that everybody referred to. Those guys, Hall of Famers all, were monsters. Okay? They were monsters. Cowboys defense of the day, Bob Brunick, middle linebacker, Arizona State. Randy White, tackle, Maryland. On the other side, Jethro Pugh, tackle, number 75. Ed Too Tall Jones, number 72, 6'8". The beautiful, and I might add sadly late, Harvey Martin, who died of cancer at all but 50 years old, number 79, one of the best defensive ends ever to play the game. Weak side linebacker was D.D. Lewis. Strong side linebacker was Mike Hegman. And then Hollywood Henderson came in later, replaced D.D. Lewis at the weak side. One of the best linebackers of the day, whose excellent play and speed was overshadowed by the media's irrational focus on what they considered his flamboyant behavior. Okay. Barry says, when you look at the old school teams of the past, like the 49ers, Oilers, Cowboys, Steelers now, they knew how to play the game, and teams today could use them as a teaching tool for the game. Yeah, and Cowboy wrestlers, you might be wrong. Wrong about what? I'm sorry. Hey, welcome to Zennie62, by the way. We're talking football strategy, tactics, the difference between strategy and tactics in football. This is a nice little discussion. among a group of friends. Small one, hey, it's just fine by me. John Mark says Brady would be crying if the Steelers 76 would beat the religious black. Tom Brady religious? I gotta get something to drink. Hold that thought, folks. I've gotta get some refreshments here. A refresher. I'm just going to the kitchen. I'm just going to the refrigerator right there. So I'm not really going away. In fact, technically, I can still talk, right? Because then I have some questions. Hold on a second. Okay. Whew. Oh, boy. Phew. This is really sad. CNN has, I gotta hear this for a second. Hold on.
It was something he was aware of as one of his past demons.
My drug addiction, I hope, is not the most interesting part of my life. In fact, I don't find it particularly interesting at all. But there it is. It is part of my life. It changed me, and it allowed me to, I think, better understand some things about life, about myself and what I'm capable of doing. And it's given me a certain,
Oh, my mom's
on
great,
one
thanks.
hand, empathy
Thank you.
for some people and a complete lack of empathy for others. That's something I felt I should talk about. I see this particular moment as a clear example of how we might change our drug policies. And I thought you should know why it matters to me. It's that simple.
I think he did everybody a real service by talking about his own addiction and how much he struggled with heroin and cocaine. I think that, again, the more that we can talk about these really hard subjects, the more it removes the stigma. And to know that he had overcome the...
That's sad. I mean, what has stopped me from being depressed about, well, no, I have to say, it is depressing. Because it's just that we had Kate Spade take her own life. I have to talk about this, okay? Earlier last week, and then at Bourdain, and then another star who's just 20 years old took his life. But yesterday? What's going on, man? Is it a lack of belief in God? What is it that, what I don't understand, I have to get this off my chest, okay? I'm not going to spend the rest of the time talking about it, all right? I'm going to go back to football. But I just have to ask this. What the heck is going on? That people feel that they have to do this sort of thing. I don't get it, okay? And Barry Lee says, and he had a 10-year-old daughter, which now grew up without a father. And Kate Spade has a daughter who was 13, who grew up without a mother. Right? So it's this selfishness that just bothers me. It's like, wow, why? You know? All right. John Marks, I think you're right. John Marks said, he just wrote, no religion in their lives, you think? I think so. You know, I really do. Because what bothers me about, like, I'm not married, not by choice. I love to be married, love to find the right woman, but you know, what bothers me is now online dating is the rage and all this, and in some areas like the Bay Area, if you look for someone, they say that they're agnostic or they're atheist. I am neither agnostic nor atheist. I want a woman who believes in God. And that pool of women is shrinking. I'm thinking maybe I need to go to Christian.com or something. I'm not, and I don't mean to say that I'm this perfect religious guy. I'm not. But I grew up with a grounding, mooring. And I wasn't kind of, ooh. And I don't mean to put people down who take that choice. I just don't understand it. But I'm wondering if there's a correlation between people who don't have God in their lives and this bent toward taking their life. That's what bothers me. Barry Lee says, my uncle had religion in his life, but it wasn't, I guess, enough for him when he shot himself. Thank you, Barry Lee. See, okay, Kevin KD says, I don't think that religion will save anyone from having suicidal thoughts. Okay. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not trying to put anybody down. I'm trying to figure it all out. To which someone's going to write, Zennie, you can't figure it all out. Give up. Enjoy your life. Have fun. Make money. Yeah, that's the other thing, too. I got to find some investors. And it's the other thing. It's like, yeah. But, speaking of which, Trevor Johnson says, hey, Terrell, he says, Malcolmton says, in addition to overt lack of belief, is also deterioration of culture fostered by a terrible dysfunctional social media. Amen. Terrell Johnson says, mental illness is real, and we don't even understand what the next person chewed through. Terrell, you rewrite that. I got part of it, but I didn't get the tail end of it. Tom Caller says, I always thought the same, but in the meantime, I learned more about depression. We all don't know how that feels. Oh, it's going through. Okay, Terrell Johnson was saying mental illness is real and we don't ever understand what the next person is going through. Got it. I think that could be said for Terrell Owens. I think he's depressed. I think he's depressed and seemingly bipolar because he goes through these wild mood swings. He's not a bad person, but there's a struggle in there that is seemingly never ending, and it results in him not being satisfied. And so just when you think he's satisfied with, oh, he's the Hall of Fame, no, he's not satisfied because it didn't happen the way he wanted it to happen, even though he asked for it to happen. So now he's got it, and he's not happy, right? Whereas I'm thinking, dude, yeah, I mean, everyone talks about wanting to be in the Hall of Fame. There's songs about living in the Hall of Fame? What's that song, right? Well, everybody knows your name, right? I mean, he's got that, and yet he wants the Hall of Fame, but he doesn't want to be around the people that comprise the Hall of Fame. He wants his bus to be in there. Imagine when the bus talk, what they're going to say to his bus, what those buses are going to say to his bus, right? Dude, man, you don't want to be here, but you're here now. You're stuck with us now. Yeah, you're stuck here, man. Yeah, how about that? For the rest of your life. Just kidding. Okay. Barry Lee says, I guess the depression gets so bad with someone that blocks the part of the brain that processes reasonable thought, maybe. Could be. Pedro says, I know this good Catholic guy played a church band. Girlfriend dumps him and he takes his life. Hey, you know what? Women can do that. You love somebody. When my thinking about how I felt about, I'm not even going to say her name tonight, but this is back from Cal at the time, and you know that bothered me a lot. But hey, I got myself together, and still would have been fun if we got married. Whatever, didn't happen. That was then. This is now. Black Lion says you have to study politics and the God concept during ancient times to understand the true meaning of religion. And John Mark says, I feel bad for him. I guess he means T.O. Yeah. And Kevin KD says, I agree with the T.O. mental illness description. Got it. And yeah, you can't take it with you, as John Mark spoke. So you can't take it with you when you pass it on. All right. So, hey. Hey, so getting back to football. Oh, before Joseph Benson says, very sad loss with Anthony Bourdain this weekend. Such a good man who tried to open up people to exploring our beautiful and strange world. Get out there and live, people. John Mark says, Zennie, you need to keep your freedom as long as you can. I've kept my freedom long enough. I'll be 56 this year. Okay? Hey, welcome to Zennie62, everybody. I've been free enough. I would love to find or be introduced to or meet or have an improved relationship with a woman that becomes my wife. Okay? And anyone who says, oh, you're just being so revealing and saying that, yeah, so what? Yeah. I mean, I'm not, there's 7 billion people on this planet right now, and there's tons more people that came before us. Why does everybody have to feel like their story is like the first one in humankind? I mean, come on. We've all ridden this path. There are no secrets. It's ridiculous. Man. Malcontent says the cowboy wrestler, many people mistake the quote about money as the root of all evil. It actually is the love of money. That's true. Black Lion says, sorry to hear that too. I hope he is at peace now. Yep. Kevin KD says, I feel like people chase status and money to the point where they're willing to sacrifice their happiness and more important sanity. That's true. Barry Lee says, Zennie, I count down every birthday. Just count down every birthday like I do. I'll do that. John Mark says, you're not really missing anything in marriage. I don't know that, John. You've been there. Everyone who says I'm not missing something is either married or has been, right? I haven't been that path. Lars, rest in peace, used to say that to me. You ain't missing anything. But he did it. He had a great son out of it, granddaughter, and the poor man died in his sleep. And there's a memorial from a week from today, and I'm scared to death, but I'll be there. So, Josh says, what are your thoughts on Ghost? Malcontent says, this is a great conversation tonight. Yeah, I did. Thanks. Joseph Ben says, for too many people, there isn't happiness before they have money or when they have money. Depression is a constant fight one hope most can overcome. Terrell Johnson says, never be scared to go outside your comfort zone in dating. Okay. John Mark says, I never had kids and I've been married for 26 years. That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, I do take simple pleasures. Like, for example, my Oakland News Now blog is going great guns tonight. I mean, I've got posts about Robert De Niro, about Melissa Benoist from Supergirl, because she presented the Tony Awards, one of my favorite actresses, talking about Henry Sante, and then when I went down to my surprise, I talked about Peter Liu, who's running for mayor of Oakland again after running for governor, and then he ran for mayor of Oakland before, and boy, that was a zany, wacky thing, you know. But and so I checking on my stats, and holy, I say holy fick holy because, woo, yeah, I got, take a look at this, folks. 2,600 visitors on my blog today. Woo! I got to show this, all right? I mean, you got to see this right here, all right? See that spike? See that? All right? Today, 2,600 visitors, 3,199 actions. OaklandNewsNow.com, all right? I mean, that's like, woohoo! I love it. I mean, hey, Hey, I mean, that's a brand new blog. All of what, 3 months old, maybe? Okay. The peak today was 622 visitors at once. Now, for some people, I'd say, "Oh, that's tiny," but you know, it's a start. And it was based on one article, well, post about I talked about Henry Satay, right? That someone picked up and put on somewhere on Facebook, and okay, that's cool. I mean, there's a the locales, the United States, and to see where are they mostly coming from, I would guess California, as I click on that. I don't know if it's going to tell me, but the only problem I have with this is that the ads on there are Google ads and they don't pay. You get a lot of traffic, they still don't pay. It's a rip. So I need to swap that out with ads that pay, because you get that much. Start getting traffic like this. It makes a difference. It really does. Okay, so and the Google search is Henry Satay Oakland. You're secure, and that's what people are finding this under. Let me see something here. If I just take this, Henry Satay Oakland, see what happens. But most of these are Facebook. Facebook is just ruled. Yeah. Hey. Okay. Let me see something. This is wild. 1, 2, 3. Wait a minute. Yeah. I've got the top 3 posts are all me. This is cool. Look, take a look at this. Wait a minute. This is cool. I don't know how many times I can say this is cool, but wait a minute. I'll just say this is cool. Look at this. Look at this. All right. Henry Satay, Oakland, right? Zennie62. It's Oakland News Now, right? Okay. Wow. Yeah. And that's that is really cool. Huh. Yeah, I like it. Huh. Oh boy. Hope everybody's there. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, folks. I was very happy. Things happen like that. And all right. That's why all this. And then the fourth result is another one of mine, and that's it. Zennie62 Media has a great day for a change. Not that we've had lousy days, but this is like, woohoo! You know what I mean? This is huge. I mean, okay, I'd love to see like 1 million at once, but still, I'll take it. This is great. Outstanding. Visitors, whoops. What else here? Now stop, then I'll get back to, I'll get back to talking football in a second here. Just wanted to see what else was going on. Did anybody else, Jargar Joe, Assembly District, Salty Peterloo, Melissa Benoist. She got some clicks there. Didn't see the De Niro thing. I think that De Niro piece is crowded. In other words, everybody's writing about De Niro saying F Trump. Okay. Hey, how you doing, Trav? All right, now back to your comments. I'm back, all right? Oh, hey, yeah, invest. You can invest, by the way. You can also invest in Zennie62 here if you, there are 2 places to invest. You can invest in Zennie62 here. All right, well, actually, this is one place right there. And Barry Lee, I got to get your shares out. Boom. There. Awesome. $2, $20, $2,000 would be fantastic. Oh, that would be a dream. But basically $1 per view. But you know what? Let me show you something too about my new blog. This is something else I'm very proud of. Right? Take a look at this. This is, if you go to Google search and Henry Satay, right? Okay. All right. Look at this. This is the other thing, folks, okay? Look. This is the search that I showed you for Henry Cité Oakland, right? Right? Remember that one just a moment ago? But look, if I click on news, ta-da! You say, that's my blog. My blog is the only news on this guy. Nobody else's. Okay? Oakland News Now, by the way, where you can, it says advertising and investing, although I should have a click here, right? But you can read about advertising and investing in Oakland News Now. Right there. You can reach out, contact, or, you know, if you want to, so inclined to invest, you can just click here, right? And it takes you to the same invest area, okay? But I digress. Yeah, this is the only news post written about this incident. It's the only one. Nobody else, not SF Gate has his name, not, and they had one on him, not Express, not East Bay Times, which used to call themselves the Oakland Tribune. Oh, and by the way, see how I'm neatly installed my videos in here on the right. Took a lot of time to get that right, get the API to work. Okay, have Dub Nation. See that Oakland announcements for the parade. People are excited about that. Related posts have 1, 2, 3 deep. All right, and then of course at the bottom, your comments. A lot of people post. They haven't left the comment, but whatever. A lot of visitors, and they stayed for like almost 4 minutes. So they're definitely reading this. But again, what I'm proudest of is it's the only news. Look at that. News. Okay? Only news. If I click on videos, right? It's in videos, right? Okay? Then I click on all. Okay, all right? That is how you do new media. That's the Zennie62 way. That's the tech for you, baby. Woohoo! Yeah. All right. That's what you get, you know? Yeah. Cowboy says, does Mr. Cité thinks he's going to get away with a disgusting act in progressive Oakland? I don't think he would, you know, I don't know this guy, but Cowboy, he strikes me as somebody who is working through some demons himself, and he seems to have a drug addiction problem. I mean, he was serving time for marijuana possession and possession with a controlled substance, and then conspiracy to commit a crime. I think it is. I don't know what the crime was. I didn't read the case, and then he was released November 17th of last year, and that was just before, a few months before, marijuana was declared legal, right? And I know there was a thought of, you know, having this, there were of getting, he was, I mean, for all we can say about his incarceration, it was for a non-violent offense. Possession is a non-violent offense. So thankfully that's wiped out. But what has happened to him since then is he's starting to do violence. His act upon Greg, or the homeless guy, is an act of violence in terms of dumping his items. His act on Mr. Nelson was obviously violent. No question about that. We see that. So he's headed down the wrong path. And why that is, I don't know. At first I thought this was a sort of a Barbecue Becky thing. It's not. It's worse. But something else too. I wonder if Jennifer Schulte was also drug addicted. You know, I wonder if she was, you know, smoked a little bit too much weed, right? There's an issue regarding mental illness and opioid addiction, and I think that falls into this. You know, I really do. Kevin Katie says, Cynthia is from Boise, Idaho, though. Enough said. John Mark says, karma is coming for Mr. Jogger Joe. And Joseph Business says, this guy, Barbecue Becky, the two guys that killed a couple of guys in Portland, I believe after they berated a Muslim woman or a best, Trump has brought out the filth. Yep. John Mark says, my friend is from Boise. I got nothing against Boise. Terville Johnson says, did you ever find out anything about Celeste Guap? Her last Facebook Live, she was in a cop car and in distress. Hey, Terrell, when was that? You say cop car and in distress. What? I'll check her Facebook page. I don't know. I know that I haven't talked to her since I interviewed her, what, now 2 years ago? Barry Lee says, what did you think of high school students at the Tony Awards that sang the song from Rent? I noticed there were a lot of tears in the crowd while they sang, which is amazing, by the way. I'm sorry I missed that part. I was at the gym, and then my mom called and told me the Tony Awards were on. I was thinking, oh, I forgot. So I went home and watched it. I don't know. I have to see that. Malcolm says, there are much bigger problems with these folks. Marijuana alone doesn't make people violent. And I didn't mean to imply that it did. If I did, I apologize. In fact, I said that, but what I was pointing out was a fact. He was in jail for possession. He got out. And regardless of what we say about marijuana, look, you can get addicted to alcohol, you can get addicted to drugs. That's a fact, okay? And because it's legal, doesn't mean we have to, in a sense, throw the baby of truth out with the bathwater of desired fact. And the baby of truth is that, hey, look, you can get addicted to that stuff and it can ruin your life. Just like alcohol, okay? So what we have now is an addiction. We have an addiction nation. We're all addicted to something. Some addictions are better than others. Anyway, hey, here's the Anthony Bourdain. This is one of my favorites. This is cool. Watch this, folks. This was Obama. Check this out. Oh, I missed that. It's like...
And Obama wanted to sit down with Tony in Vietnam. It had nothing to do with the food. It was to talk about, again, life.
Anthony interviewed a guy named Boris Nemtsov in an episode he did in Russia, and who was a critic of...
Anyway, I just had to share that one. That was... Sorry for this is sort of a catch-all night. It's 1:43. I'm going to stop in about 5 minutes, but the Anthony Bourdain, just not Bourdain, it was not just Bourdain, but it was just the spate of people passing on by their own hand rather than something tragically happening to them. And wow, you know, it's, and I misread Anthony Bourdain too, John Marks, as you just said, you know, just a business. Yep, that's the Hanoi episode. Amazing to see how far Hanoi has come in 50 years, isn't it though? Well, like I've been there, but from what I understand. Malcolm says, yeah, I hear you, Z. And Joshua, you're new. He says, I'm a 19-year-old kid and need help with financing. Okay. Joshua, I'm a 56-year-old kid and need your help with financing. So we're in the same boat. Welcome to my world. Welcome to the world of the person who operates a startup. I have low overhead, right? Hey, good night, Tom. Nice to have you here. Joseph says, yeah, he was a really good guy, a Jersey boy. Black Lion says, we have to get to the root of the issue that makes people want to get high out of their minds in the first place. Yeah, it's, you know, I don't know. I think, Barry says, I'm 48, I need a new president. I don't know what that is. And I don't. I think that, but I do believe at the end of the day that it's the pressures of living in a capitalist system without a reliable safety net where you know you don't have to worry about not having health care or not having a roof over your head. That constant pressure, you have two pressures on you, really three. You've got the pressure to keep a roof over your head, the pressure to keep a base level, right? roof over your head, bills paid. Then there's the pressure to excel, and the pressure that is in between is the pressure to take care of your family. The taking care of your family, you can't do that if you can't take care of the baseline. That's part of your baseline. Success is the icing on the cake, okay? But to me, the ultimate success of all is having a great relationship with your family. It really is. Barry says, and I approve of the previous message. Hey, before I go, changing subjects yet again. Whoop, okay. Is anyone aware of Halloween with Jamie Lee Curtis? And I don't mean the original. I mean the one that's coming back. I happened to see a trailer that popped up on YouTube here. I can't play it for copyright reasons, but I thought, holy cow. Has anyone said that? Has anyone seen that? I'm going to type John Carpenter Halloween, because there was talk of John Carpenter doing this, and it's like 2 days ago, Sci-Fi wrote about it. Halloween, Michael Myers comes back home in first trailer for John Carpenter. John Carpenter had simple advice for Halloween writers. It said, make it relentless. Did you know about that, John Marks? I mean, I'm reading this from, I think I'm gonna blog about this myself. And Hawkeye being considered for standalone for Marvel Phase 2. They better make it good. I can't see Hawkeye carrying his own movie. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. I just can't see that, all right? Anyway, now Blumhouse has it out. Okay, it's okay. The new Halloween is being promoted as a direct sequel to John Carpenter's original 1978 movie. And the director, writer, composer is an executive producer this time around, as well as returning to compose the music. Ooh. Dave Gordon Green and Danny McBride were elated to learn that not only did they have Carpenter's blessing, but that he was also doing the music. When asked what it was like to work on with the horror icon, Green said that they were nervous and then revealed that Carpenter gave them some simple advice. He had this to say. His advice was brilliant. Make it relentless. He had notes, which is something I was extremely nervous about. We worked very hard on the script. We were all very excited. It's one thing for 3 movie nerds to geek out over the opportunity of maneuvering within this property, and another to basically go kiss the ring of the Godfather and see how that goes. That is cool, okay? And he said there's been some controversy surrounding the new movie, and the choice is that they said that the fears are dissipating. Okay, so I'm excited about that. The other movie that I'm excited about comes out this Christmas. It's Mary Poppins. You heard me. Mary Poppins. Yeah, I did say that. Mary Poppins with Emily Blunt in the title role, which I thought, can she really pull it off? Folks, I saw one trailer during the Tony Awards. You know my answer is, yeah, she can do it. She can do it. I never thought I'd say that. I never thought those words would come out of my mouth, but they did. Emily Blunt is Mary Poppins. Okay? Barry Lee says the best John movie Carpenter made was Christine. They should remake that. John Mark says Mary Poppins? Yes, Mary Poppins. Joshua says, I don't think Marvel can make a standalone Hawkeye movie because Marvel can't go making a movie with all Marvel characters to only one character. Hey, Joshua, I see your point, but I just saw an article says that they're actually planning that. And Joshua, you have to consider that Marvel did make, Iron Man, right? We had Iron Man. And Iron Man was, look, Tony Stark, played by Robert Downey Jr. in the first Iron Man, classic movie. I mean, it resurrected Robert Downey Jr.'s career, made him a super mega star, and then he just took off from there. So, done well, it's possible. I mean, there are failures. Like, look at the Hulk with Eric Bana, right? Which, I was excited for, and then after, I watched, I was like, oh. And then the more I thought about it, the less I liked it. Okay? And then all the other incarnations, they were like, eh. And then finally, it seemed like Marvel was struggling to get Hulk right, because the only Hulk that really worked was the 70s TV Banner. And they got away from that. It was like, oh. And then they had the one with where, what was his name? Ed Norton was playing the guy. And, I like Ed Norton as an actor sometimes, but that wasn't one of the times, that wasn't really for me. Joseph Binsman says, Kevin KD says Hawkeye, Spider-Man, or Wolverine. Right. Wolverine was, man. Joseph Binsman says, I have a great idea for World War II epic. I wish I knew Spielberg and Tom Hanks. But Joseph, all you have to do, look, don't think that way. Anyone watching this, I say this to you. I wrote a spec script. Maybe I should do it again, but I don't have a script in my head. I wrote a spec script in '97 for a movie called The System, about a mayor of Oakland. And the mayor's name was Zachary Mendelson. His first name was Greek, his last name was Jewish. Kind of like Xenophon Abraham, right? Anyway, to make a long story short, that script, I pitched it to Alan Gasmer via letter at William Morris. And Alan Gasmer at the time was the hottest spec script salesman in Hollywood. You know what? They took the script. I bugged them. They didn't do anything with it, but they took it. I was on cloud 9. So if I can do it, you can do it. But the key is, first of all, you got to write. I signed up for something called the Writer's Boot Camp that gave me a structure. There's that word again. A structure within which to use a type of technique, okay, to write, called the 363. What was that? You have, 3 parts. You have act 1, 2, and 3, right? Act 1, 3 pages. Act 2, 6 pages. Act 3, 3 pages. 3, 6, 3. Within the first 5 minutes, people should be able to figure out where your movie's going. You can set it up. You have to set it up within the first, not 3 pages, but first 30 pages, all right? The next 60 pages, you get to fleshing it out, and then maybe you have your plot points, right? And then by the last 30 pages, you're reaching to a conclusion. 3, 6, 3. 30 pages, 60 pages, 30 pages. 120 pages, 1 page equals 1 minute of screen time. That's 2 hours for a film. There you go. I just lay it out for you, the structure, fill it in, okay? Kind of like defense, right? Black Lion says the Black Falcon should not be the boogeyman, yeah. Barry Lee says, did anyone say Cape Fear? Barry Lee says, and I'm worried Jamie might need a motorized wheelchair to get away from Mike Myers. No, you know what? They give her you know what? They're going to give her AK-47. An AR-15. All right? I kid you not, man. As John Marks just wrote, watch horror films, keep America strong. All right, folks, I'm headed out. Anthony Bourdain's got more great food out here. He's making me hungry. I'm going to eat something late at night. Hey, if you have a chance, please invest, but also please visit my new blog, Oakland News. Please visit the blog, all right, oaklandnewsnow.com. And if you have a chance, not only do that, but also, if it's just $2, it's coffee money. I love it. Invest, but check it out. Check out Oakland News Now. And there, right there, okay? That's one, all right? Just business. Who's ready for the waste of time Trump Kim Jong? It's going to be interesting. I don't think it's. You know what? Here's the thing. I give Trump credit for doing that. I think it would be unreasonable to do so. I have to give him credit for doing it. Let's see what happens. You want your president, regardless of who your president is, to do well. Because if I think he's doing well, and you think he's doing well, then it's good for the country, right? So this is a good thing, you know? All right, so hey, enough of me, folks. Good night. I'll see you tomorrow. Please visit oaklandnewsnow.com. It's what I love about it is it's my only blog that's also a Google News site, which means it's part of the news structure, right? And it's great to be able to have that reach, but also it's great to, it's great to know that when I gather sources and I have information, I have to be careful about this or that, then I put this out and I can see that, hey, it's getting hits, it's over. Hey, it might like I showed you there, it beat all the other publications. Nobody there. No one. All right. Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody. Okay, see ya.